Right. Good morning, everybody. I've got no intro music or anything like that. It's just as it is. Um, I've got my uh, Bases mug here that Miles sent me after I did the conference, and it's one of a kind. It's the Bases, and it was 2021, I had my own choice to what to put at the bottom. So I put this is something that a group of us, one of my friends came up with. Actually, he felt this, and he summed it up by this term: "We shine one, we shine all." So it's not just about the individual; it's about everybody else. Um, and that's hopefully what we will do in time. I thought yesterday I was going through things so fast, my mind was like beep 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 beep. Anyway, today I'm going to slow down a bit. Now, going back a couple of years, I printed off. There's a Deagle site, Deagle.com, and it's a military site, and it gives demographics, it gives armaments and who owns what and who what missiles are where. So it's a very official site. And as many people saw, they did print demographics and population and what population will be in 2025. Now, this is some here of the pop, the numbers going down too, right? But I'll read some of this off. Um, so from for Britain, this is a current list that they've got, and I've written what they've got on the one I printed at the side. This is because it gives me the estimated and what they're saying, what our current status is. Now, I'll put my glasses on because yes, I'm at that age. Maybe I'll be able to get some herbs that will stop this. But anyway, at the minute, I need glasses at the minute to read now. Right. So I can start off with the United Kingdom. Now, they're saying that our current population level is 65 million, around 65, 67 million, right? Now, they're saying by 2025, our population will be down to 14 million. That's a huge drop. We're unfortunately one of the worst places. Now, France, they're 67 million, and they estimate that the population of France will go down to 39 million. And then we've got Russia for 146 million down to 141 million. So actually, they do a lot better than us, mainly because of their agricultural policies. Germany, 80 million down to 28 million. So real drops. Japan, 125 million to 103. Well, as time gets on, Japan is very vulnerable to when we get the pole shift, but this is only for 2025. I mean, I would actually be probably moving out of Japan. There may be certain safe areas there, but you definitely don't want to be near the coast and you don't want to be near the volcanoes. So there's not a lot of space in between, but and you don't want to be in Tokyo either. So that's not a lot of areas you can move to. Now, according to this, India's population will go from 1,330,000,000 to 1,341,000,000,000. But again, I don't. This is for 2025, so I don't think it takes into consideration what's going to happen after that. United States, 332 million down to 99 million. So we're getting hit hard. And then it's got here China, 1,390, no, yeah, 1,390,000,000 down to 1,358, 1,358,000,000. But that again, I don't think China's going to fare that well actually. Not long term. I think the population is going to really, really drop. Um, and then again, Canada cutting this is like 37 million and it gives it down to 26 million. But I think Canada will fairly well actually over long term, not in the big cities, but out of the big cities because they're pretty resilient there. Although the climate's going to get colder there for a bit. But as long as you know, it's kind of the more remote places will probably do better. Um, so you've got some of those there. Um, but I want to read what they put. Now, I was looking at these documents the other day, and I thought, oh, I did never read the bottom bit, did I? Right, it has a disclaimer on the Deagle, right? So it says here in 2014, we published a disclaimer about the forecast. In 6 years, the scenario has changed dramatically. This new disclaimer is meant to single out the situation from 2020 onwards. Talking about the United States and the European Union as separate entities no longer makes sense. Both are the Western Bloc. Keep printing money and we'll share the same fate. So they're on about the way we're keeping printing money, which is true. As we know, we're going to hit a humongous crash when it hits, and the ATMs won't work or anything like that. Uh, and I still haven't got everything out of the bank either, so I'm as guilty as everybody else. Well, not as, I mean, me, a lot of other people are probably better prepared than me, but anyway, I'm getting there. And we'll share the same fate. So they're saying here, they're already predicting here huge collapse in the Western Bloc. Now we're seeing this partly orchestrated. We're seeing uh, food processing plants closing down. We're seeing food processing plants being set on fire or so-called accidental fires. We're seeing look at Denmark and what's happening to the Danish there. It's the farmers there, 600 farms. They're just going to go, thank you, we've got a gun, we're going to take your farm. That's it. So farmers are going on strike there again because, but it's the bullies, isn't it? We've got the guns, you ain't going to take your land, mate. And this is the problem, and it's kind of global. Here, they tend to use a tactic of squeezing you to death here. So it's like, oh, but why are they doing it? Why are they doing it? Are they just satanic and evil, or is there another motive behind this? Well, I suggest there's more than one motive here. They're very selfish, but there's also reasons behind it. They know they know a catastrophe is coming, and they're consolidating all the money they can to build whatever they want, and also breakaway organizations that are off planet. They're trying to like siphon more and more money into so that they can escape the planet. But what they don't realize is, of course, when you're off planet, it's controlled by other beings. So good luck to them. Ha. Anyway, and it's not the positive lot. So they're quite willing to be a food source or whatever they want to be with them, or the pet of the Draconian Empire. Well, they can swivel with that one. So can the Draconian Empire. I'm not for them, I'm afraid. No, I think we've been slaves long enough, and it's time to break free. And it's going to be difficult. No two ways about it. It's going to be difficult. Now, if I carry on with this disclaimer, it does say some more here. It says, after COVID, we can draw two major conclusions, right? So, one, the Western world success model has been built over societies with no resilience. No resilience. That is 100% true. They're not lying there. We have zero resilience. Because it's been designed to just in time economy. So as they cut the spare capacity away just to make more and more profits, and exploit workers and everybody else just that little bit more, you get to a point where there's no return anyway. So societies with no resilience that can barely withstand any hardship, right? Which is true. You cut our power off and all hell will break loose. Even a low intensity one, well, you get a major solar flare, cuts your power off, and what's going to happen? Well, chaos is going to run riot, isn't it? It was assumed but we got the full confirmation beyond any doubt. So they're saying here that they have no doubt now. And remember, this is not a two-penny organization. These are military sites that are predicting what is going to come to pass, and so it's not just, oh well, we're just inventing this, like some of the computer models, which are a load of rubbish that they try and pass on to the public as a distraction. Right, okay. The COVID crisis will be used to extend the life of this dying economic system. Very important. I will repeat that. The COVID crisis will be used to extend the life of the dying economic system through the so-called Great Reset. Great Reset. We all know about the Great Reset, don't we? Klaus Schwab and all these mates and cronies. Yes, we make profits while you, yes, hobble and starve. Right, the Great Reset, like the climate change, Extinction Rebellion, planetary crisis, green revolution, shale oil, hoaxes promoted by the system, is another attempt to slow down dramatically the consumption of natural resources and therefore extend the lifetime of the current system. So what they're saying here is we're not totally evil. We don't know what the hell we're doing. We've totally messed up the planet as so-called global leaders. We don't know how to get out of this. So basically, we're kind of hanging on tooth and nail to start continue our collection of money from everybody else. So we got the Great Reset, like the climate change, Extinction Rebellion, planetary crisis, green revolution, shale oil, hoaxes promoted by the system, is another attempt to slow down dramatically the consumption of natural resources and therefore extend the lifetime of the current system. It can be effective for a while, but finally won't address the bottom line problem and will only delay the inevitable. The core ruling elites hope to stay in power, which is in effect the only thing that really worries them. So the ruling elite, the only thing that they're worried about is staying in power. That's about it. They're not worried about you. They're not worried about me. They want to make money right to the bitter end and like fiddle while Rome burns. So this is their aim. Now, I would say the planetary crisis bit, well, they keep coming up with things, but there is an actual 12,000 year natural shift going to go. It's not going to be an end of world catastrophe, but there are going to be increasing weather phenomena. Now they're already doing geoengineering and they're doing weather manipulation and all that. So like, oh, I want my area. I'm pretty rich, Mr. Guy who controls the weather. Can you kind of like seed my area just so I can get a bit more rain? So they pay for that, but that can have a knock-on effect to somewhere else on the globe. So it's like the butterfly effect, chaos, basically. And we do see chemtrails in the sky, although this week I've actually seen no chemtrails, which is like amazing. So maybe we run out of funds for that bit, I don't know. But the solar system, it's not just our planet though. It's about observing other planets. So when they say about planetary crisis, it's if you just look at our planet, you think, well, they could be lying anyway about that as well. But then you look at Pluto, then you look at changes on Mars, then you look at changes on Jupiter. And all these changes are occurring, and the sun is changing, and the sun is changing because it's getting energy from the central sun. And this is a cyclical thing every 12,000 years, and then there's another one which is a lot further than that. Now, apparently, as I said, a good site is suspicious observers. They've got a lot of documents on there. They've got a lot of scientists there, and as ever, any of those scientists that come forward with anything, they're marginalised and they're ignored or fired or whatever else. But they're doing a good job, and that's brilliant. So what we will see, and I don't think it's going to be stopped, is increasing weather conditions that are going to get worse. But even when it gets to its very highest point, if there's going to be like a huge, like a mini nova, I think they call it. I'm not brilliant with the scientific terms, but basically the sunlight, it like has a, it's getting all this energy in from the central sun, and it's like gets to a point and it's like a static outburst, and of course our planet's going to be in the way of that. Now if we're facing, and from what they're saying, if you're in South America, you're probably in a better place, but Europe, we're gonna get hit hard, and I'm here, so I've chosen to be here, and one of those things. So well, there you go. So I'm going to be in the eye of the storm. And what we need to do is, when we get hit by the major one, which is a good few years off yet. I mean, we're talking we could be 2030 or whatever before that hits, or even slightly later than that. And that's the very major one. Then, if we're facing the sun at that point, which by all accounts they're calculating we probably will be, and I'm not sure exactly which countries will be hit. If we get the straight solar flare, it will like fry us at that point. Now you don't want to be. It doesn't mean to say everything's going to be completely destroyed. It just means you don't want to be standing outside that point because you probably burn. So you want to be underground or under some sort of concrete or something like that. Some sort of shelter. So these are things we can all do by then, because let's face it, but we ain't going to be things are going to break down before then. So it's about the population's already going to be reduced by that point. So it's about building our shelters, it's surviving up till then, and then surviving after then, and building back a better bloody system. Let's face it, this system's a piece of shit in it. Because there's starving people, there's record levels of human slavery on the planet. I mean, complete slavery. We're all slaves, but we're economic slaves. There's a lot of real slaves that don't get paid. They just get worked to death, and that's that. And then there's sexual slaves and all the rest of it. It's all disgusting. Anyway, it has to end. All that rubbish has to end. So, I do disagree with the planetary crisis. It's not. It's a cycle. So it's not. It is. It's not Armageddon. It's survivable, as they've been explaining. It's just you need to take into consideration certain factors. You can't. Not a good idea to be by the coast where I am at the minute. So right. So let's go through this. Like the Great Reset. Like so that these hoaxes, like climate change. Well, climate changes anyway, and of course, what they were doing is they were saying global warming, global warming. Well, actually, it's going to probably cool down after this period. So we're going to reach the solar maximum 2025, which we could well be hit by a major flare then. That's only going to be a major flare. It's not going to be a frying flare. It's just be a major flare. But the problem is our electronic equipment, our system is all geared towards all the electronics and electricity, and it's very unlikely that'll survive. And these sort of heavy flares can reach to the core of the earth, so it's not like it will just hit the surface. If you're underground, it won't hit. So a Faraday cage for certain of your electrical equipment might be a good idea, and I'm going to work on that in time anyway. And mainly I'm going to work off that sort of grid, so it won't matter that much. The one thing I do need to find out is, will it explode your batteries? This is one thing I'm not quite. I might ask a question to them to see if they understand that. I'm not really sure about that one. So it may be store your batteries somewhere safe at that time. So Extinction Rebellion. Well, their name says it all, doesn't it? They want kind of extinction, really. They're not a rebellion. They just want extinction. They're just mind controlled and paid and just a distraction. So climate change is a distraction, and also a way to, like rob us of more money that we haven't got. So like, oh, let's make everybody more poverty stricken by claiming this climate change, and you've got to pay us for it. Well, that's really going to help, isn't it? When you've been doing nothing but destroying the planet anyway. I mean, look at, I do agree that the species being reduced very, very quickly by these activities, these solar activities, but also by humans. We can't deny that humans have had a huge impact. And of course, all these, I'm trying not to swear, all these idiots who do experiments on animals, and then like I found here, of course, rabbits. I came back to Britain and saw there was no rabbits. I thought, where's all the rabbits gone? I know myxomatosis, but that was like dying out. That was like getting the rabbits were becoming immune to that. And I thought, where are all the rabbits? So anyway, I looked it up, and of course now they've got a sort of Ebola type disease, and it's wiped out 60% of the rabbits. I thought, I wonder where to look to for them. It can't be a certain person, Mr. Bell, who has Gates, who has a lot of biolabs. Of course, it might not be him, of course, who knows? But, it's just the balance of evidence may point that way. Did he do it on purpose? Did he do an accident? Probably a frigging accident, who knows? But great. So we've got no rabbits, hardly. I look around, no rabbits. I've got a lot of birds here, but again, the EMF from like towers and things like that affecting insects. So there's a huge drop in insects, so that's affecting birds, and I do love birds. It'd be a very sad planet without birds, and I think they'll hang on. I've got a lot in my garden. I think I've got half the population in my garden anyway. Right. So we got Extinction Rebellion. Well, they're just utter bloody idiots, aren't they? Planetary crisis. Well, yeah, well, we're gonna have a bit of a crisis come, but it's not gonna be like Armageddon, Armageddon, and all these disaster movies like the world's gonna split apart, and all these movies that are like we're all gonna die. No, no, no. Green Revolution. Well, the Green Revolution, the way they do it is let's take your farm and we'll feed you insects. Well, that's bloody good, isn't it? Yeah, thank you. But they might end up eating insects. I mean, insects are not healthy for us, but push comes to shove, eat an insect, die. Well, I think we'll eat an insect. It's better than eating humans. So, and unfortunately, it could get that bad that there could end up being that sort of nasty side of things occur. Oh, I don't even want to say that. So you got to start being prepared. Um, Shale oil. Well, shale oil is totally destroys the water supply, the groundwater level. It pollutes that, and then it's like in Britain. What have we got at the minute? It's like, oh, we want this green agenda, everything carbon neutral. We want to get rid of you, the carbon people, and we're going to charge you for it, but we're going to let all the sewage companies let all the sewage into your rivers, so your rivers are dead. But that's fine, that's okay. But green rubber, carbon, your carbon imprint, your carbon footprint. Well, like, don't poo in your own frigging supper. Don't poo in your own water supply or pee in it. It's like, stop this. It should be top priority to clean our bloody rivers up and make these companies totally responsible for that, because then they claim poverty, we haven't got any money because we gave it all to our shareholders who've raked it in, and that's that. It's like, yeah, so I'm a little bit sarcastic, but sorry about that. But anyway, it's just a little bit annoying, to say the least. Well, without swearing. So all these hoaxes are being promoted by the system, and they've stated why. The they can't manage resources on the planet. Yes, they can go off planet and get more resources, but they can't organize anything basically. They're bloody useless. They're too busy in fighting and bloody, I want all the money. No, I want all the money. No, I want all the money. While everybody else is like just trying to make next month's bloody bills. That's the reality of it. Or in other countries, just the next bloody meal. So yes, they have a lot to answer for. And so the so-called ruling elites. Now there are some good guys there. There are some that think, oh, I do want to help people. Well, if you want to help people, then I'm going to start doing some videos which gives an idea. It's ideas, and everybody's open to ideas. And this leads me to another aspect, which I thought I might talk about, which is what's going on in the alternative movement. Unfortunately, what we're seeing is the divide and rule agenda coming through, and they're using remote influencing, they're using other methods like infiltrators, anything to destroy anybody else's narrative. So I would suggest that if you don't like somebody who's on YouTube, don't have a hissy fit about them. Give critical feedback. I don't mind critical feedback with me either. I'm open to suggestions. I mean, I learn all the time, but make it a suggestion, because what I'm seeing is across the board is attacks on alternative media by getting alternative media one to attack another, another to attack another, and this is what I'm seeing. And it's like, haven't you forgot who's behind all this? You kind of like infighting when haven't you forgot who actually got us in all this mess? This is a slight issue, and it's being done on purpose. Remember, they've got electronic influencing, so people might genuinely feel, right, I really hate Alex Jones, and that, oh, good that he's going to get fined frigging billions over frigging hurt feelings. I mean, no, I'm not belittling any loss of anybody, but, at the end of the day, he hasn't killed anybody. Yeah, they're like almost $1 billion for like hurt feelings. It's like a load of shite, isn't it? So sorry if I hurt anybody's feelings, but honestly, I mean, get a frigging life. Um, so this culture of like, oh, I'm hurt. Oh, and unfortunately, the alternative movement is full of it. One attacking another, and they're forgetting what's going on, because it's done on purpose. It's not necessarily their fault, because, as I said, just repeated more than once, they're using electronic devices to infiltrate the mind. So they might not be their own thoughts. It might be thoughts coming into their head that is like driving them forward to say things. So I'd say this: take the information. And if you don't like somebody, don't watch them. It's simple. I watch certain people, and then I leave them for a bit. I mean, Alex Jones is a bit of a hyper guy. I can only take so much of him, and then I have to kind of go elsewhere. But he does bring good stuff forward. I'm not denying that. And they've really come for him. I mean, you couldn't go for something more than like $1 billion. I mean, it's so insane. It's like, but it's also done as a threat to everybody else. It's the oh, don't talk. We're going to fine you $1 billion or £1 billion and bankrupt you and whatever. I mean, they did this with Catherine Austin Fitz too, from the Solari report. She was, in financial system in the Obama, where Obama was president, and she found some anomalies. So she was trying to do her best in a job in finance, and then because she was picking up on some of these anomalies, they didn't like that, so they went for her and they seized all her assets. Well, if it wasn't for the fact that she'd given so much to her friends and family over the years, How could she afford to get her name cleared if she hasn't got any money and she can't access any money? How was she supposed to even live? She was, because of her generous nature, she managed to survive and win the court battles. But nobody else could have done unless you were in her situation. She was very lucky. But lucky, but also she put the work in. She'd actually put out into the universe a lot of positivity to her family and friends, and then it came back to her. So this is another aspect as well. But yeah, they're going after a lot of different truthers by targeting one to hit another, and then, well, I don't like such and such, and I don't like such. There's even with me, I might get something wrong. Nobody's right 100% of the time. We're learning. And if everybody goes, well, I know every single thing on this planet, well, they don't. So it's like, it's just the way it goes. But just listen to the information and then cross-reference it with others. Look at documents, and it takes time to look at the documents. I mean, I hard printed these off because I suspected they would be taking them down, and they did. You won't find them on there now because they've taken that down because people were starting to look at it and going, hang on a minute, what do you mean the population is going to be down to such as why? So people were starting to pick up. So it's like, well, we'll take it off the internet. And then people go, well, if you look at Deagle, they say such and such. So people go to Deagle and go, well, it's not there. What are they on about? But no, they took it down, of course, and changed it. But of course, if you've got a hard copy, it's still there, isn't it? So that just gives a bit of an update anyway. I do joke around quite a bit as well because I think you have to, because otherwise you're gonna go blooming mad at this rate. But anyway, right. I shall love you and leave you because there's lots of other things to talk about as well. But I'm sort of trying to get back in the swing of things, and I've been doing so much different things. I've been doing a lot of research myself. I've a lot of studying about plants, animals, structures, learning to communicate better with other beings. So it's ongoing me. Yeah, I'm not working 24/7 in a regular job at the moment, but I am working hard to get together soon, hopefully next year, to start producing food without it being taken by the government. This is what's going to happen too. They're going to go, right, emergency crisis, we're going to take everything else, we're going to take farm, we're going to take everything else. They can pull that one. So it's all about trying to work around all that. And that's what I'm working through with others at the moment because it is a bloody minefield, honestly. I've got a really thick book, and it's like trying to get through that for me when I'm dyslexic as well. It's all legal jargon, it's awful. But it's been great to observe. Well, it's not been great for the people involved, but it's observing what's been going on. Like the like what's happened during the COVID crisis, how people have responded on all sides, how we've been testing the common law, and it's just been worth the thugs. Tough luck. Common law doesn't work because we say it's not working, although we should be under common law, natural law. I mean, because we're seeing so many injustices, but again, it's all to keep us occupied while other things occur. Everything's a distraction. Everything's to try and stop you preparing for the future, but also living your life now. It's like they really cannot be any more mean than they are being because instead of even letting the so-called or the hobbits, the ordinary hobbits, or they would say the great and wash of the peasants, um, getting on and enjoying our lives while we can until disaster comes, they're trying to really make us bloody miserable. That's because, of course, certain other beings love it. The more we suffer, the more they are happy. So yes, they're a great jolly bunch, isn't it? A jolly bunch to be around. They can stick their bunch. Well, I mean, that's my attitude towards them. I don't really care anymore. The Draco, I'm not afraid of them because they try and get me. I've got other friends, so it's like they can't get me now. Try. Good luck on you. So it's like, so it helps have friends. And I'm not talking about human friends either, because humans would have a chance against Draco. Not unless you, because they're so fast. Like if you were in a gun battle against Draco, it takes several people because they're very fast reactions. So by the time you try and shoot them, they've already known what you're going to do and shot you. So it's like, it's really, really hard to kill the buggers. So really, we do need more friends from other planets and other dimensions to help us against them because they're a little bit tough buggers. I mean, there are a lot of other tough buggers, but there's a lot of beautiful beings out there. So we'll get through it. Well, it's about preparing, but also we'll get through it. Humanity is not going to perish. It's not going to perish. We're going to get through this. How many will get through, I don't know, but unfortunately, I think a lot are not going to make it. But then it's about us surviving. Not, I mean, I'm not totally bothered about surviving in one level, as in, I don't mind going somewhere else, but I do love planet Earth. I think she's a beautiful planet. She has a consciousness, time she's free, and I do love her. And also, I love the people. So, do I want to go elsewhere, die and go elsewhere? My physical body isn't wonderful. I could do with a new one, but like, so what? I'm gonna stick with it. Why am I gonna stick with it? I'm gonna stick with it to help forge the new society, the new, well, I didn't say golden age, but just a bloody better way of living. So we're not horrible to each other. So we're not got slaves or monetary system. I mean, we're one of the few planets that has a bloody monetary system. I mean, other planets like, what do you mean people are homeless? What do you mean? What do you mean they don't have any food or something else? It's like, what? They can't understand it. But you see, on other planets, they don't terminate people to control their population. We were bred as farm stock, like in a farm. Oh, we'll breed them so much and then we'll cull them. We'll breed them so much and then we'll cull them. So that's what we've been bred like more recently. That's not who we are. But what we need to get back to is the more responsible side of us. So yeah, we'll naturally have smaller communities where we control population by herbs or whatever else. But so that we don't have an overpopulation and we nurture the beings that we bring to the planet that have their own souls, that, we nurture them so that they blossom and they can fulfill their own um benevolent desires, and to help. And the schooling needs to be about sharing. It needs to be about, from a very young age, understanding that we're all one, really, and to develop a better understanding and communication. I mean, as we develop, I mean, I'm starting to communicate more psychically with other people, and also I can scan people better, mainly in person. And there's an odd person I can't do it with. But I don't waste my energy by remote viewing somebody else, or what the daily life's like or anything like that. I mean, like when I went to the space con, what I did was I was remote viewing or psychically connecting with people there just to scan them. It's like a general scan. That was for safety. You can do it in a big crowd. You scan the crowd who's baddie. You can do that automatically anyway. You do it to a level, like that guy over there, I sense he's real trouble. Stay clear or whatever else. But it's about developing those skills. And we really have got a phenomenal genetic code. We've got, if we can turn all the aspects of it back on, we really can be a benefit to the galaxy and the universe in a phenomenal way. So, and this is it. We don't want to be prisoners of AI. We don't want to be, an AI is going, they're going to be flashed off the planet. Sorry, AI, you're not going to be around now. this AI has come from elsewhere, and it's not a very positive AI, I can tell you. There are other AIs, so it's not just one, but there's a negative form that are basically controlling the Draco too, so that they're victims of it, but it's a very dark energy ultimately. And it needs to be driven out of our galaxy. That's it. You know, it's not from our galaxy. It popped through into our universe anyway, not let alone our galaxy. So it wants me get back, go away. So yeah, there's all that aspect to it as well. But I do see a bright future in the long term, but it's going to be challenging, and it's about psychologically preparing. It's not easy. Some days I'm like, oh my god, how the hell are we going to get through this? But it's definitely stay away from mainstream media. It's just appalling. Occasionally I catch it because my mum watches it. Oh god, I'm looking for the last 1 minute without wanting to swear at the TV. But anyway, I shall go. Love you all. All right, bye.